It's bringing you probably one of the most important trends in the housing market I have put up in a while. Mainly, we're just talking, chatting, even fighting and blocking each other in the comment section. But today, guys, there's some big news. There's something big happening, and something's brewing. And you know, I've always ramped up the shows to get you guys all excited and all ready to go. Let's talk about this. Let's find out what's going on. Let's be on the same page together. Let's work together. Let's find a solution for this. Someone says I sound like a robot. Guys, can you hear me okay? Am I okay? Can you hear me? Anybody? Like a bot. Oh, okay. Am I sounding like a bot, guys? Let me know in the comments so I could, Owen says I do. I sound like a robot. I'm not sure what is... Let me go to the microphone. Yeah, guys, go ahead and share this. Car alarm's going off outside like crazy. All right. Let me go to my properties here. Let me fix this real quick. Yeah, Yeti microphone, so it should be okay. Anyways, I'm going to throw this out. I got a few things I want to throw out there. And, yeah, we're on Spooner Street today, guys. I wanted to throw that out there. We are on Spooner Street today, borrowing Peter's home. And Peter's a good example from Family Guy. Typical guy, works at a brewery. Typical guy, typical wage, owns a home. Typical guy, typical family, has several kids. Typical guy, typical wage earner. Basically putting his kids through school and basically taking them, you know, and living the American dream, right? Sorry, that is a car alarm going off there for like 11 minutes. Okay, someone could hear me fine. Okay, so anyways, let's do this here real quick. Today's show, guys. Now, I want to do a quick. I just want to talk about, you know, the whole situation in the comments. I kind of want to throw this out there because it's kind of important. This channel is very different from every other YouTube channel out there in existence. One, it probably has the most videos uploaded, unique videos by far than any other channel in YouTube. And I'm not trying to brag about that because it means nothing. Because the channel is very small and it's very least followed for the amount of videos that I have. But we have one thing that no other channel on YouTube has. We actually have a community. We actually have a family. So whenever, you know, you see people getting all riled up in the comment section and blah, 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 and all this stuff, is because we are personal here. We take things personally here because we personally know each other on here. Everybody on here knows me. Everybody on here knows Axl Rose. Everybody on here knows David Xavier. Everybody on here knows who Old White Guy is. He has his own channel. You could subscribe to it if you'd like. You could. Everybody knows who Owen is. He's been on the. Everybody knows Lord Humongous. Everybody knows each other on this channel. We've created, like, if you go to another channel with 1 million subs, the creator, I don't think, could care less about the comments going by and couldn't care less about answering anything because the comments go by so quick, and I don't think they even care less, to be honest. Here, we have more of a unified community, and it's really good that we have different points of views, and sometimes people start to, you know, take it out on each other and start bashing each other. Why? Because we know each other, right? We know where we're coming from. We know who we are. You know what I'm saying? And this is very good to have. This is a very, I don't know how to say it, but it's a very rare thing to have nowadays. You know, basically we're just hanging out in a room. And it's super rare to have a community like this where we're actually there, like, for each other. Like, I know almost everybody in the comment section. Either I know them personally. I know Owen personally. I've met him 3 times or 4 times. I know a lot of people in the comments personally. Blunt News has been on the channel. We had Pathfinder on the channel, and I hear Pathfinder sometimes over on T-Square. You know, we know each other. So that's what we have. And that's something a lot of YouTubers will never have. And blunt news is a foundation of free speech is a must. Of course it is. I'm not asked. Nobody censor nobody. Okay, unless they're swearing or they're going against anything. But if somebody wants to make fun of you, let them. If someone wants to make fun of me, let them. It's okay. Make fun of me. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. Old white guy saying Mike locks me in the basement. Real Kevin Thompson is saying free thinking. But no bashing, guys. Just don't bash each other. We know each other. We know Kevin Thompson. We know how he is. Right? So this is like a family. We know each other. We know Steve. We know Supreme. We know this. We know everybody. It's not like, you know. Anyways, okay. Tonight's topic. All right. Tonight's topic, guys, is huge. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Share this right now while it's live. Quick channel plug, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Set your reminders here for Mike in the Night. Oops. Article scan, please. Hurry up. There you go. Set your reminders here for Mike in the Night Lizard Mixture. You want to watch that one. And Mike in the Night, I light my torch and wave it. Lots of good videos coming up. And I'm trying to get a guest on for Mike in the Night on June 20th for the Aurora Borealis Comes in View show. So I kind of want you guys in that show, everyone to watch that show. Hopefully I could get him on. And there it is, all the Mike in the Nights from the back in the day and all the trends in the housing market from back in the day if you guys want to catch up on some stuff. Guys, pick up something on Teespring if you want to support the channel. Get something for your money. And I'm going to give you guys my Facebook. If you guys want to message me on Facebook, I'd be more than happy to, if they allow me, they allow you to message me, because some people get censored. I don't know why. It could be the link you're sending me. Could be like not classified for Facebook use or something, because the link is basically going against their policy. And there's my Instagram, guys, if you guys wish to follow me or if you wish to message me, that's fine. I don't post here, but I check my messages very often. It is trends in the housing market tonight. And man, do I have a show and a half for you guys. Man, you guys have no idea what's been happening. I even got messages. I even got a message from someone in a city council in New Zealand. City councilor sent me something. Undercover. There's thousands of city councilors in New Zealand, but someone sent me something. They said, Mike, you better read this on your show tonight. I've been watching your show for ages. I have another article that was sent to me from the States, and they basically told me, yeah, I basically had to make a fake account to message you because I can't let my employer know that I'm actually watching your channel. Because there's a list at the office of a banned list of YouTube channels that are not allowed to be watched by employees at the office. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Not making this up. All right, let's get to work here, guys. Let's get to work. We got quite a bit here to cover. All right, let's go over some headlines from our friends over at Better Dwelling. This is from Canada, guys. We're going to kick off real quick in Canada, and we're going to move a couple other provinces, and we're going to move down to the States. Jump back and forth. Looks like there's a little bit mixed up here in Asia, but there's a little bit here we need to actually go down. Only 5% of Greater Toronto's new homes sold last month. So there's an oversupply on the market, and there's a lot of homes sitting vacant or a lot of homes on the market chain here. So here it is, guys. Look at this. I mean, I don't know what's shoddy or what's good when it comes to this kind of construction, but man, the way they're cutting corners left, right, and center. I'm not saying these guys are, but yeah. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, total sales. Look at this, from April 2019 to April 2020. There you go. You have it right there in a nutshell. And City of Toronto sales fall a little slower than the rest of the GTA, and a Greater Toronto new home inventory makes a sharp drop. So here it is, York, and look at it from year over year here from April's. So you got April 2020 here for Toronto, April 2019 Toronto. So you're seeing the pattern here. Look at everything blow up in 2019. Holy crap. Halton is like dead, but look at up here. Oh, look at York. Yorkshire, baby. Woo! Okay, let's keep going here. It's not York, it's York, Ontario. TransUnion warns a severe scenario likely in Canada, mortgage defaults to jump. Yes, mortgage defaults will jump. I say anywhere from 26 to 40%. Because a lot of people are just cash strapped, and a lot of people bought into this market when they couldn't afford to. So one of the three big credit agencies warns they expect a big jump for insolvencies. TransUnion gave the industry a look at recent macroeconomic and consumer credit activity this week during the presentation. The firm's analysis highlighted various deteriorating macro events. So what they mean is like pinching everything, like getting to all the smaller and the bigger parts of the finance to actually peel back everything to find out exactly forensic peel back of the economy, of people's personal finances. And that should be done at the bank. Every time you apply for a mortgage, every time they send it for approval and everything, the lender needs to ask the proper questions before it goes and gets escalated to the next level. And that's not happening. Okay, we got Axel rolls. We got the comments rolling here. Guys, we need everybody. We need everybody. Please, being nice in the comments, okay? Everyone's free to say what they want, but just be nice about it, please. CIBC challenges to Canadian real estate will be coming in 12 to 18 months, so there'll be challenges coming to real estate sector, and this is a big deal because one of Canada's largest banks sees turbulence for real estate markets but doesn't expect it this season. A CIBC research note released earlier this month sees real estate markets temporarily frozen once the economy begins moving again and mortgage deferrals expire. They see things starting to change. Once this happens, the bank is forecasting lower. What's lower what? Bank is forecasting lower what? Lower prices. Especially for condo apartments, markets should expect to see a shift in sentiment evolve over the next year. Very important, guys, from Canada. And then we got most of Canada's insured mortgages on deferrals projected to be underwater soon. So people with mortgage deferrals are starting to feel the heat right now in Canada right now. So especially in the overpriced cities where people's wages are nowhere near the cost of living. Wages are so out of reach. So we got who we got in the comments here. We got Tignim, long time viewer in the comments. Who do we got? Aquarius, long time viewer in the comments, and there's your wrench, Aquarius. And lots of long-term viewers in here that have been watching me for years. Homer Simpson, no, I'm on Spooner Street. Kevin Thompson says, blunt news, there is still room to make money in this market. There definitely is, but you have to know how to make it. You have to know where to put it. There's a lot of money being, most of the fortunes that are made, a lot of people don't know this, guys. So let's go back to Peter's house here. A lot of people don't know this. Do you know that, I think it's IBM, Microsoft, Burger King, I'm not sure if it was Disney, but did you know that there's a handful of companies that actually launched during a massive depression and made it out? A lot of people don't know that a lot of the big companies we have today, a lot of the big ones, actually started out during a depression. Launched right in the middle of a depression. I think Microsoft was one. I know Burger King was one. I don't think Walmart launched during a depression, but I know there was quite a few companies out there. I think Hershey's for chocolates, I think they launched during a Great Depression or a massive depression. So we got Alfred saying, hi, Alfred. Alfred watching from Calgary, Alberta. Your show is awesome. Thanks, Alfred. So a lot of big companies. So Kevin Thompson is actually right about that, because a lot of recessions started, or a lot of recessions in the midst of a big recession, a lot of companies actually opened and actually are still with us today. So there is money to be made during a time of disparity. So sad to say, but so true. Okay, so that's it for that area there. Let's move on to Alberta. So somebody sent me this from Alberta that's in the field that wants me to read this. So let's go to article scan, please. Okay, here we go, guys. Alberta housing markets may surprise investors post-recovery report. So maybe moderate in Alberta. Economy restarts in the next few quarters. Calgary and Edmonton housing markets might see recovery sooner than expected. All major metropolitan economies are forced to contract in 2020, the Conference Board of Canada said in its latest economic forecast. Calgary's GDP will likely shrink by 5.5%, while Edmonton will likely see a 5.6% decline, CTV News reported. However, assuming the virus spread is contained and firms can return to normal operations over the summer months, a recovery should begin in the second half of the year, leading to sharp rebounds coast to coast in 2021, the board says. Organization is predicting an increase of 6%, a GDP increase of 6%. Holy crap. So that means oil needs to go back to maybe $200 a barrel if it wants to, and 6.2% in Edmonton by next year, which should bode well for the province's long burdened housing market. So you guys know, in the province of Alberta is like our Texas of Canada. It's the Lone Star province, where basically it is our oil province, right? So in the Mike Banks is saying, call in Aquarius. And Pete Swag is in the comments, says lots of big companies started during recessions after World War II. That's correct. Maybe the recession after World War I, because there was a very big depression that crashed at 29, if you guys remember that. Okay, so yeah, we need Aquarius to call into the show. I need Aquarius to call in. She's been on the channel for years. And Mike Banks needs to call in. Yeah, Big Rob New Zealand says New Zealand economy hasn't been hit that hard yet. However, I think by July there will be a major hit and then a major decline in real estate in New Zealand. I really hope so, because New Zealand is basically turned into a nation of renters. I'm not trying to make fun or just anything. It's really getting really bad when people in their own country can't even get into their own markets unless they get help from their parents, or the bank swindles them into a death loan. I call them death loans because that's what it is. I mean, it's like, okay, let's move on here. So Alberta housing markets, watch out for that, guys. Now listen to this. This is from Market Watch. And Market Watch rarely throws something out there that's kind of a screwball. They really don't. I've been looking at Market Watch for a while now. And this is from the United States. Listen to this. Home price gains continued in March as the COVID pandemic swept the U.S. Case-Shiller Index shows. The initial impact will be felt mostly on plunging sales and listing volumes, not prices. So these guys are starting to look at, these economists are starting to look at the prices may not move or get hit too hard, but sales will get hit hard, right? But if you get an oversupply in the market, or you got if you get an undersupply, they're just going to play we don't have enough infrastructure or housing, let's build more. Then we get back into that rat race again, like we did in Canada, England, Australia, New Zealand. Now, look at all these empty places now, right? Okay, is this good news? That's the question, right, guys? As for where home prices will go. Oh, they actually put a typo here. As far where it's for. Home prices will go because of the COVID, the jury is out. A report from Zillow is 0.0. So there it is there. Zillow predicts indicated that home prices could fall as much as 4% in a worst-case scenario because of the outbreak, and Fannie Mae has forecasted home prices to continue rising in spite of the pandemic. As buyers return to the markets, as the country rebounds from the pandemic, a limited inventory of homes for sale could fuel bidding wars and push prices higher. No, there's too many places for sale. We could go on MLS in the States. There's tens of thousands, if not millions, listed on not MLS, Zillow. Millions listed. So they're always going to push this supply and demand so they could get the construction companies. Remember, guys, it's a money game. The construction companies get the contracts. They hire the workers. They hire this. They start cutting corners. They do what they have to do to get these jobs done. They start charging on pre-builts, and that's how the cookie crumbles, like a broken record, over and over and over. So Alan says there is at least one typo in every single bloody article I read. Good. So it's not just me because I can't read. Mitch Madden says, ignore all happy talk and prepare. I just messaged Mitch right now on Skype, actually. 26 Gunter says, back in 08, when the Fed/Gov started buying up MBSs and buying stakes in Fannie Mac and Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac, it didn't keep prices afloat. It just offset their losses and keep the entire market from falling. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. So Papa Pist is saying bidding wars in Gatineau, Quebec have started. Houses sold within days at a huge premium to advertised price. People want to close before potential second lockdown. That's true. That's actually coming from Quebec. That's very true what's happening up there. Quebec is one of our last provinces to lose all affordability in, right? That is one of our last provinces we have, guys, where we lose affordability in Canada. We're in trouble. We will. No, Craig, you didn't lose your wrench. Yes, someone says, yeah, with the rug pull. Mike Banks, I have a job for you. 2K says Nat Pashuk in the comments there. Yeah, we're doing a reset on some of the wrenches here, guys. Nobody panic. Buy a house before hyperinflation and UBI. Yeah, that's what Alan's saying. No, you want to buy a house when hyperinflation hits, so you could go there with a $12 million bill and buy 4 houses. No, guys, this is a Family Guy. I'm on Spooner Street, guys. Nobody panic. So here it is. So Phoenix, where was that? I was reading that right here. Where'd it go? Said something about Phoenix, Arizona. Only 2 states saw declines in home prices during the first quarter. West Virginia, where home prices fell 2.1%, and Alaska, where they dropped 0.1%. So that's 2 places there. And Seattle experienced an annual rate of income price appreciation of 6.9%, despite the fact it was one of the first hotspots for the COVID outbreak in the U.S. First hotspots because it's open to foreign investors. And we got Craig Cook calling in. Craig, what's up, buddy?
Hey, no, nothing. I thought I'd give you a call in. I haven't called in for a while. I've been missing your live. So, how's it all going over there?
It's going good. I'm gonna get into some big juicy housing articles here because we're getting into some strangeness, right? You know, it's
Yeah, we are. I've been on the night shift, as I told you, and as I thought, we came back with a bit of a hiss and a roar, and it's all starting to get a bit quiet now, and there's certainly a bit of uneasiness around.
mhm.
We're on level 2 now. They're talking about going to level 1 in a month. So yeah, it's quite an interesting time. I have seen quite a few bargains around. If you've got cash, things like cars are going for about half the price. They're
Yes,
promoting
cars
it.
for sure. Because a lot of investors don't live in the country they invest in.
Yeah,
So they don't, what are they going to do with the car, right?
yeah, and of course, your dealers and that. There's not a lot that's really been said about the housing, but there has been the odd article to say, a lot of people are underwater,
Hmm.
people are in big trouble. But there's certainly the news on that side doesn't really come out as fast as the FOMO side of it. If
The
you
FOMO
get
side,
what I
yeah.
mean.
Guys, this is Craig. He's in the comments all the time. You'll see him there. He's got a blue wrench, and he's calling from New Zealand, and he's giving us like a rundown. Here, let's go over to New Zealand right now. This is from Ireland. Okay, New Zealand. ABS says confidence in the housing market outlook has fallen to a near 8-year low with expectations for this fall further in coming months. So it looks like it's going to be,
Oh,
yeah.
definitely, and just I think that it would be fair to say that the panic has passed,
Mm-hmm.
but certainly a real uneasiness has come in, starting to come in. Generally, you can kind of feel it in people you talk to the point where people are really just day at a time, week at a time, buddy. Don't think too far ahead.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
there it is, and
yeah.
it's saying that. So what's the deal with New Zealand? And I read an article about this the other day that New Zealand is very upset, and they're trying to push the universities and colleges to open immediately so they could get more foreign students in.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that, but I think it's a real case of, while I've got these high and mighty principles, but hang on, who's paying for it?
Yeah,
I think people are really starting to realize, oh, well, we're actually quite poor. You know what I mean?
yeah, because what
Um,
they were binging on foreign students to come and rent their places instead of locals, right? At an affordable
yeah,
rent, right?
yeah, the foreign students, and also with the houses, buy a house for, well, say 300,000 in the day, and then put a coat of paint on, and you sell it for 400, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So those two things, when you take those out of the economy, it's like, um, who's got any money? Who's got some money? Put your hand up. Yeah.
There's not a lot of liquidity out there, and it's very scary.
No, but I'm certainly myself in a really good position. I don't want to get into it too much
Mm-hmm.
tonight, but with the mental health side of things, I found that having just a healthy outlook and a balanced approach to life has really helped me get through a really tough decade. So it's quite interesting to me personally because I've had quite a hard time getting rid of a lot of personal debt and a couple of bad relationships and bad choices. And so I'm finding I'm looking at a lot of people. I'm seeing them crumble a bit, but I'm okay.
When do you see deals in New Zealand? When do you see the deals for bargains for the housing?
I don't know. I'm I'm just waiting to see in about 6 months when a lot of mortgage holidays. Uh, I'm not sure what you call it over there, but it's you call the bank and you say, "Oh, look, I'm having a hard time paying the mortgage." So you can have a 3-month holiday or a 6-month holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking around 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
And also with the other thing is, after a while, the bank's going to say, well, you guys really aren't back where you were, and you aren't really bringing that income in from a business point of view.
Okay, hold on. I got something here. This is from R. Auckland, saying
Yeah.
how Auckland bounces back from COVID. Chief economist David Norman expects a relatively sharp bounce back for Auckland's economy. Severe impact on New Zealand's economy. Auckland enjoyed a GDP growth of 2% range to 4.2% unemployment rate, the lowest in a decade. New Zealand's domestic outlook was solid. Reflecting this, house prices in Auckland were up 11% in a year. Holy crap!
Yeah. Of course, they have to run the narrative, but yeah, the average man on the street, and you and I both know, and all of our listeners here know, that's just well, as they will say in Australia, yeah, good on you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a load of rubbish, and the real elephant in the room is the impact on tourism, and like you said, the foreign students. The tourism in New Zealand is a massive, absolutely massive, and that affects just about every sector of the economy. From car sales, hotels, tourism, motels. You've got what else have we got in there? Obviously, got universities, Airbnb, which is one you're always talking about.
I think New Zealand is just like Australia and Canada and the UK and the US, where they sold what do you call it, education as a must to people if they want to make it in life. And I'm seeing a lot of people that got a degree and they've unfriended me on Facebook.
Yeah, well, I've got a degree in accounting,
Mm-hmm.
and I quite enjoy driving my small truck. Thank you, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually make more money driving a truck than I ever did in the office.
That's true. That's true.
So that's
Blue collar jobs are good.
well, yeah, and it's better for your mental health because you certainly, when you come home, you think, oh, yeah, we actually done something and we made a difference and we helped society a bit. But yeah, that's a big con. But I think people are kind of waking up to that.
Okay.
This idea that, like you said, oh, if I go to uni or college, you call it college, we call it uni. If I go to uni and get a BA in commerce, or I'm going to get a good job, and I think really that's just been destroyed, especially in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, no, what's that good job pay you? Oh, 65, 70 grand.
Mm-hmm. 70 large, yeah.
Yeah, well, hang on. My mate, because in New Zealand it's only 2 or 3 degrees of separation because we're quite a small country.
That's correct.
So, it's anecdotally and culturally, it's quite normal to say, well, hang on, you only get 70 grand. My mate, he drives a digger. He gets $35 an hour. Or my brother, he's a builder. He gets 100K, or he started his own company. He's worth $500,000 a year.
Wow. So we got Big Rob New Zealand in the comments says, I love Jacinta Ardern. I hated freedom anyway.
Yeah.
So are you a big fan of the current government, Craig?
Well, I think that you have to give credit where credit's due, and I think that Jacinda's done quite a good job with a couple of things. First of all was the Christchurch massacre, because she handled that quite well, and so we didn't really see any retaliation.
Mm-hmm. But also she actually put the foreign buyers ban on.
Yeah, she done that. Well, I think that was a bit of a little too late. I think that was more of a political move.
Yeah.
And I think now the other thing is with the COVID, they rolled out money and put money in people's hands pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a pretty a pretty smart move, really. I think it saved a lot of people from a lot of, basically starving and being bankrupt. So
So
I
she did a good
think
job
based
with
on
that.
that,
Okay.
yeah, I think based on that, and it seems to me the feeling around is she's done a good job and she deserves another crack at the election. Sorry, we got an election coming up. So I'm pretty sure she's going to win. And of course, the opposition, just being idiots.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. You guys are going to be in elections in 2 years, right?
No, September
Of this year.
this year.
Holy
Yeah,
crap! It's been 4 years already, man. I'm getting old. I remember when she just got in
yeah, we
office.
are.
I can't believe it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so no, great show. Love your videos. Really interesting to see what's happening. But yeah, if anything, a lot of that stuff, like I told you, it's just gone quiet. Like you said about the recovery and got to buy
Haywire.
a house, and now it's more about they're talking about relationships and mental health and your bubble, stay in your bubble and stay safe and all this kind of stuff. So it's a bit of a distraction, I feel,
It
from
is. It is.
really what's really going on, and that is, hang on, we've hit the iceberg, and it's okay, don't panic. Do you want a glass of martini there? Or?
Yeah, play the violins till it sinks. Okay, Craig, I'm going to let you go. We're going to continue with reading some articles here. I got this big one here from the United States to read here.
Oh, great.
And we'll talk soon. I'll probably see you on Mike in the Night if you're not working.
Yeah, I'm back to days next week. So, yeah, I'll be watching and I might call in. But thanks for taking the call, Mike. I thought I'd jump in.
God
nice
bless, Craig. Take care, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That is Craig Cook from New Zealand giving us a little input, a little information on what is going on and where it's going on and what is happening down in New Zealand. Okay, so let me turn off. Oh, looks like the neighbor's cutting his grass again. The neighbor cuts his grass like 13 times a day. All right, let's refresh here. Okay, guys, this is a little bit important. This is a very important article coming from the United States of America. So we already talked about the first article there. This is very important because this is going to make a lot of people feel very upset that are in the Commonwealth. Okay? So here, let's go to article scan, please. See where Miami ranks among cities where residents spend the most on housing. Now, pay attention to this. Very close. In a recent report for Smart Assets, Miami ranked among the top 10 cities where people spend the most on housing costs. Are you ready for this? Let me zoom this in because you guys are thinking I'm lying because you're going to think I'm making this up. So let me zoom this in as much as possible so you guys can see what it is I'm talking about right here. Okay. So in a recent report, housing costs. Miami ranked number 7 nationally with a median housing cost of $1,202, spending on average 34.5% of their income on rent. That would be a bliss if that was in Toronto. That would be a bliss if that was in Vancouver, Sydney, Auckland, Melbourne, heck, even Perth, even London, England, Ireland. If people spend 34.5% of their income on rent in those cities, it would be an absolute blessing. 34.5. You know, I have a friend in Vancouver. I'll tell you a story in a few days about him. I'll tell you a story on Saturday about him, okay? I promised him I'll wait till Saturday to tell this story. 66% of his income is going towards rent for a 1-bedroom apartment, and he has a professional job. And so here's the deal, guys. This is a big deal. So again, if you're living in Sydney, listen to me and pay attention. Miami ranked number 7 nationally with the median monthly housing cost of this is for a house, $1,202, spending on average 34.5% of their income on rent. So now in Miami, or Dade County, Miami-Dade County, they're freaking out. They're like, oh my God, people are spending 34.5% of their income on rent. Try going to Toronto. They're spending 60 to 70, upwards to 80% of income on rent. I'm not making this up. The stories and horror stories I've received by email. So now look at this. So residents in New Orleans also spend 30% of their monthly income on housing, meaning they're classified as housing cost burden, 30%, and they're calling it housing cost burden. I know a guy who lives outside of Vancouver, maybe 30 minutes outside the city, in not Burnaby, but Surrey, and he's paying over 50% for his housing costs of his pay. So this is classified as cost burden. Miami had the biggest percentage in the study. San Jose, California had the highest cost of $2,288, followed by San Francisco, San Diego. So all of California, all the way up to Seattle, that's completely bought out by, that's a big foreign investment racket there. Boston ranked as the city where people spend the most on housing based on an index incorporation, both median housing cost and percentage to income spent on housing. Los Angeles ranked number 2 by San Diego and number 3 by New York City, and Long Beach, California tied number 4. Again, all bought out by cities of bought out by foreign investing. Now look at this. They're worried in Miami-Dade County that the cost of housing is $1,202, and that's 34.5% of income. Wow. I would give a prayer, or I would say a prayer or something for it to be like that in Vancouver, and so many people would be back to affordability levels, more disposable income, and a better life. Wow. Okay, so I just got a deal in Orange County. That's net Pachuk. And we got Papa Piss says IBM helped, but I think they stole the first DOS and IBM, and Bill was made MS DOS. LOL. Just add a clock. 2-bedroom condo is $2K plus, says real Kevin Thompson. Yeah, two-bedroom condo is too large. Okay, and with the amount of taxes and cost of living and burden and all that in Toronto, you're screwed. You're screwed. You're gonna make like $7,000 a month to pay $2,000 a month rent. What's Miami sales and property taxes? We already went over Miami a few times. It depends where you are. If you're in Dade County, it's a little bit more. You're looking at $800 to $2,000 a year, and if you're in Broward County, it's a little bit less. If you're up in Martin County, you're paying less than $700 a year for property tax for like a 3-4 bedroom home. So it depends. Average home is anywhere from $140,000 to $220,000. Depending what part you like, depending where you are in Florida, because I lived there for 5 years. I know the market, right? So I can't believe that they're worried now. This happened. Guys, do you remember when this happened in Portland, Oregon about 9 months ago, where Portland, Oregon's income ratio to affordability levels was 40%? Do you guys remember that? Where Portland, Oregon was seeing a mass exodus of people going to Utah, Arizona, New Mexico from Oregon. Ooh, I got a big hair in my, I don't have hair on my head, but I got a big hair in my water here. But anyways, yeah. So, Bird 718 saying night places in Miami are expensive. No, if you go down there and take your time, anywhere you go and take your time, you'll find good stuff. Good stuff for a good price. I've seen a lot of good stuff, and I passed up on a bit of it because the timing wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? But no, you could pick up something good. You know, go to my past shows. Look Look at Lisbon, Portugal. Let me go to article scan here. Look at Lisbon, Portugal. I don't know, there's an article, a housing article about the UK. What the UK can learn from Lisbon, where house prices could still rise this year despite COVID. Lisbon is one of the few prime markets in the world where house prices could still rise in 2020. There it is, Portugal. And property prices in most European cities are set for a serious fall. Shrinking GDP, rising unemployment, months of lockdown, and a drive down values in almost all major global cities, according to the estate agents from Knight Frank, Paris, Madrid, London, Geneva, Berlin. All have a rough year ahead. But there is an outlier in Lisbon. Expect prices to be most expensive homes to rise 3% in 2020. In 2021, forecasts a further 5% jump. The Bank of England has forecasts UK house prices set to fall as much as 16%. Well, let me kind of back this up here, because in Lisbon, the average house isn't the cost of one in London, right? You could go to Lisbon and buy a nice home next to these nice palm trees. You can still pick up something for 260,000, 300,000 euros. And in London, you're looking at 600,000 plus euros in a good area, right? But you won't have the palm trees in London, though. Papa Piss said, Mike, Portugal is appealing to extend its ocean borders to swallow up more small islands. China style. I don't know, man. We'll see. Oh, what happened to Mike Banks? Oh, his grandma passed away. I'm sorry, Mike, to hear that. Steve Stevens says, Mikey, do you think Canada will be throwing out no down payment mortgage loans like they're doing in Jamaica? Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think they might do what they did in Australia. Sorry, this was in England. They did this maybe 3-4 years ago in England. They did 0% down. They've done it already. They've done it in England, and I think they've done it in Perth, Australia. I think they did 100% LTV. They did 100% loan to value in those cities. I honestly think they could do that too, because there you go in. Do you qualify? You qualify to make the payment. You qualify. Check all the boxes. Everything looks good. All right, 0 down. Go ahead, walk into your home. Hopefully the equity goes up and you make money off it, because that's how desperate it's going to get. And there's a lot of cities that have done that already. It won't be the first time where you will see cities, like, it doesn't have to be Jamaica. It's happened in England where they do 100% LTV. Very dangerous. Oh, Craig Cook says they've done it in New Zealand too. Okay, New Zealand has done it also. Okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to say that. New Zealand has done it also, where they're going 100% LTV. So that's a big deal. Let's try and see. So we got one here out of our article scan, please. So we got one here out of Ireland. Property values yet to feel the full COVID impact. So that's coming from Ireland, from the Irish Times. Now, this is the one I wanted to share with you guys. So pucker up, buttercups. So here it is. Rich Chinese snapping up luxury homes from Singapore to Sydney. This is from 2 days ago. So this is a big deal. Mainland Chinese property investors have retreated from Hong Kong. So rich Chinese investors are finding luxury real estate is a good hiding place from the economic fallout of COVID. Across China and in some of their familiar hunting grounds in Asia, wealthy buyers are snapping up top-end housing, in many cases to guard their wealth against anticipated inflation and weakening yuan. The rush to add real estate has led a jump in upmarket housing prices in China, while offering some support for Asian property markets to hit hard by the pandemic. So, since March, 2 has sold 85 million of prime property, with about half of the sales to Chinese clients who were in Australia when the pandemic hit. That's 25% jump from earlier in the year. The homes priced between 7.25 million and 19.5 million are all Sydney's well-heeled oceanfront suburbs such as Point Piper. So guys, there it is, man. It's happening again. Chinese inquiries for South Korean property increased by 180% in the first quarter. So South Korea is getting hit hard with foreign investing, and this is very dangerous, because this is what actually dismantles the country and keeps the locals out of their own markets, right? You see what happened in Australia and Canada, right? So Chinese buyer inquiry 180% for the first quarter compared with the fourth quarter of 2019, while inquiries in New Zealand homes have jumped 75% according to the data from Jiawai. Real estate firm. Searches dropped 32% in the UK and 18% in the US. High-end demand is bolstering prices in China and tempering declines in other markets. Price for top-end homes in four the biggest Chinese rose 1% in April, led by the biggest jump in 2 years in the tech hub of Shenzhen. Even in Singapore, where a partial lockdown remains in place, activities picking up via online platform. 3 Chinese clients bought 6 apartments worth combined... 6 entire apartments. Combined 20 million at Marina One residence this month without any virtual tours, said Clarence Fu, a property agent in APRC. I'm going to see if I have this thing saved here, because I think I'm going to read this article for you guys on a single show, because it looks like I have it copied on my desktop already, because this is a big deal. See, Hong Kong used to be a favored destination due to its proximity to mainland China and fewer market restrictions, but the pro-democracy protests have prompted many rich Chinese to turn to Singapore as an alternative. Undeterred by the higher taxes, Hong Kong luxury home prices dropped 4.5% in the first quarter. So they're going to be looking at... the Canadian Prime Minister is trying to be on Hong Kong's side. Hey, what's going on? Are you guys okay? I don't know why he went against communist China. That was just a weird thing that happened. Australian housing isn't the one-way road to riches as it was. So it looks like with the effects on COVID shutdowns reverberating through the economy and the nation set for the worst recession in 90 years, the concept that owning a property is a license to print money is under threat. So there it is. Commonwealth Bank of Australia, the nation's largest home lender, estimates that under a short, sharp economic downturn this year, followed by a quick recovery next year, house prices will fall 11% by March 2023. The worst case scenario of a prolonged recession, prices could plunge 32%. So they're actually calling a spade there. So again, rich Chinese snapping up luxury homes across Asia. A lot of them buying entire towers without even going to them. Sight unseen. This is from Sydney. Rich investors are finding luxury real estate to be a good hiding place for the economic fallout of COVID. So I'm going to read that one independently for you guys tomorrow as an independent article, because it's very important. I want to get really in-depth with that article because now you're going to start seeing other countries getting bought out of their own markets too, and it's going to get really bad. Donaire is asking, will Canada be ruled by China in 30 years? See, here's how it works, guys. Like, it's not about being ruled. It's about becoming, right? There's two differences, right? Like, I'll give you guys an example. And I bring this story up quite a few times because it's very basic, it's just basic language, okay? Mexico, in 30 years... Okay. Oh, let me get my soundboard open here. Where's Donald Trump? I love Mexico. Where are you?
The Mexican government. Mexico.
Okay. Let me explain to you something about Mexico and Canada and any part of the Commonwealth versus Mexico. In 130 years, someone asked me if Canada would be taken over by China. Canada could become China, but not be, I would say, taken over. I'll explain to you. In 30 years, We could go to Mexico and it will be Mexico in 30 years. It will still be called Mexico. And the people that live in Mexico are Mexican. And the language they speak in is Mexican. They speak like a slang, and I learned that Spanish. And when I speak Spanish, people ask me if I'm Mexican. They're like, are you Mexican? You sound like a Mexican. So this is the deal. Mexico will be Mexico because in Mexico right now, and it's even in their constitution, they can't sell land to foreigners. They could lease land. Oh, Mike, you're full of crap. My friend has a villa in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico now for 10 years. They're leasing the land from the Mexican government or from the state. They don't own the land. I tried to buy in Mexico 2 times in 2 different states. And I have lawyers I have a lawyer in Cuernavaca, and I have in Cuernavaca, Morelos, and I have a lawyer in Guerrero, in the state of Guerrero, in Mexico. And they told me, they laughed at me, like saying, Mike, look, we like you, you're a good guy, but we can't sell you property in Mexico. I know you want a place to go away and enjoy, have a pool, come with your family in the winter thing. And they told me basically that you can't own in Mexico. You're not allowed to because you're a foreigner. And I started realizing as I traveled the world, a lot of countries were like that. In Thailand, I spent a little bit of time in Thailand. It's like that in Thailand. You can't own unless you're from Thailand. And if you marry somebody from Thailand, you still don't own it, no matter what. So a lot of countries are really tight when it comes to owning property. They lease the property, but you can't own the property ever as a foreigner, right? So Jay Smith says, if you marry a Chinese citizen, you don't. Yeah, you don't. You don't get citizenship. Yeah, in China, you don't. No. You can't get anything. Like, there's countries like China, Thailand, Mexico. I'm just trying to think of what other countries you just can't go in there and buy. They won't let you go in there and buy, no matter what. So that's the deal. It won't work. So Canada will be Mexico will be Mexico in 30 years. Because they'll keep their sovereignty, their language, their money, their culture, their food, their music, the women, everything will be the same. But Canada, because they're at a rate of bringing in wealthy investors and chewing up the locals, basically affordability levels, you're going to see a lot of locals take to the street and move to other places where they could afford to live, right? It wouldn't surprise me in 5 years, if housing doesn't correct in Canada, that America will have a plan for educated Canadians or Canadians living in Canada more than 20 years or 30 years. They'll give them a plan where they could come and work and live in America because of affordability issues. And that might happen. If there's an affordability issue, which there is, and it's getting out of hand, and people running out of couches to sleep on, or friends' homes to stay in, or rooms or basements to rent, affordability crisis will get high. Right? So in 30 years, it's not that Canada will be taken over by Chinese, it's that Canada will become China. Because the people that live there will become predominantly Chinese. Like, you go to Portugal, Portugal has its border with Spain. Portugal is Portugal because the people that live there are Portuguese. Russia is Russia because the people that live in Russia are Russian. Italy is Italy because the people that live there are Italian, right? That's what makes up the border. That's why the borders are set, because that land belongs to that country, of that people, of that culture, right? So will Australia be taken over? Well, Australia could become China, because the people living in Australia will become eventually predominantly Chinese. And then it'll become a second language, and then it will become the thing. It's just like the reason why they speak Portuguese in Brazil, and everybody speaks Portuguese in Brazil, is because of the Portuguese. They went there, they brought themselves there, and they became the country, right? And they just started opening schools and that. The reason why they say, in Brazil, they'll always speak Portuguese because of the Portuguese and the influence. They were there 500 years, right? Very different, right? So that's why it's very important that you guys understand this. So you guys know in 30, 50 years, it's not a rude awakening that your kids are living in a completely different country. by the next 10 to 20, 30 years. Our politicians will sell us out down the road all the way to the end because they need to look out for their interests and their family's interests, right? So, okay, whoa, there's a lot of comments flying in through here. Okay, hold on a second. Big Rob New Zealand says New Zealand does not have that concept of culture. You know, I've always wondered that about New Zealand and Australia too. What's the concept of culture? Like when I go to Australia, what's Australian? Like what's considered, like New Zealand? You go to Portugal, I could show you 50 quadrillion things that make us Portuguese or that make us what is it to be a Portuguese? And I could show you guys all kinds of stuff from food to fashion to specific dances that we have to specific, wow, my head is like nice and shiny here. Holy crap. To specific ways of things we do, you know what I'm saying? So Leaf is saying the Aussie government is fighting back against China. How much? Like, is it too little, too late? Canada just sold off one of its biggest gold mines. We sold off one of our biggest coal mines. We sold off a lot of our skiing slopes where you go skiing, and Canada sold out a lot of its old age homes. Our old age homes, like 90%, are owned by the Communist Chinese Party. A lot of people won't believe that when you tell them, like, yeah, it's owned by they're like, whatever. That's impossible. Yeah, look it up. Oh, good. The real Supreme Canon. It looks like that's the real Supreme Canon. Supreme Canon, I sent you a code in your Skype. Can you type that back to me in the comment section? Because we already had 3 fake Supreme Canons. Come on. I sent you a code in your Skype. Real Pseudo Scientist, Mike, stop shadow banding. FFS, I don't know what that means. Mike, there are plenty of legal migrants in Europe. Europe is over. It's going to be ruled by illegal African migrants in 30 years. YouTube, what is this here? And then Zoom will be in the news. And then we got, what else we got here? I see so many people make big money in Toronto and just leave. That's true, real Kevin Thompson. That's true. There's a lot of people that come, like a lot of people, I'll give you an example. Like my wife's from the Philippines, right? So the Philippines, it's very hard for them to get permanent residency. Very hard. So a lot of them come, they work. They send their money back home, build a home, build everything. And they build a life back there and go home and live their life. Because they're very hard for them to get permanent residence. So they don't get fast track like other countries get like this. And if you're Portuguese, they throw you on the plane. So we got Serenity now, my man, in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Supreme Canon, thanks for being so much. And we got my girl Layla here from Syria. Gary Medeiros, my man in the house. Thanks for coming, buddy. Okay. Okay. So that's very important that we understand this. That this is something it's the inevitable, and like I said, our governments are just doing it down the line, and they're gonna sell us out right through. My kids, my grandkids, my great grandkids, and when I'm lost and forgotten, it would just keep going like that. It would just keep going down the road, right? So that was a good question. Will China take over Canada in 30 years? Canada could just become China because of the predominant culture that takes over. That's just how it is. You go to Mexico, it's Mexico because the people there are Mexican. You have Mexican food, you have Mexican girls, you got Mexican music, you got mariachi, you got Mexican, food, and you got Mexican culture, you got Mexican, I was going to say Cinco de Mayo. That's an American thing. It's not Mexican. You got the Mexican the Week of the Dead, where they celebrate the Week of the Dead there. Yeah. Fake Hawaii Scott Morrison says no housing, no future. That's true. We can't afford housing. It's over. Our like range of who we are right now, we cease to exist in about 20, 30 years. We won't exist. Like, I think that a lot of us in 20, 30 years, the way we are, the way we like how we've built these Western countries will be forgotten. I think erased from existence. I think it's just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry that I had to say that. I'm sorry I had to say that, but that's what's happening. And I'm disappointed as much as you guys are. And if it was like, you see, like, if you, a great example would be when the Portuguese colonized Brazil. They were there long enough. They brought their language, they brought their culture, they brought their architecture, they brought their everything. And it just became like Portugal, like a huge chunk of South America. And they even mapped out, they did all the cartography and even mapped out part of the South Pole that people, like, way before the British, even the British were still at war with the French when the Portuguese were already in Macau, in China. So I kind of wanted to throw that out there, guys. So let's get a caller in because I'm getting hot here. It's getting hot here, guys. It's hot in this room. I got my window open. I got it only open a little bit in case my neighbor mows his lawn again today. He usually mows his lawn 4 times a week. So, let me see who's available out there for a talk. I told Steve I wanted to call Steve. I talked to Steve this morning, but he's always busy. I'm going to bug him again. Let's see if Steve picks up. Guys, I'm trying to get wrenches on everybody on a different time zone, okay? We have Layla, who's on a completely different time zone. We got Craig, who's in New Zealand, because I do make videos and stream at different times. This allows me to cover, basically, if someone's asleep here, and it's 2 in the morning, and I'm going live for some reason, somebody will be awake somewhere to actually moderate the channel, right? So, Blunt News just sent me $5. They are talking us into total civil unrest for martial law. What do you think, Mike? They're taking us into civil unrest for martial law. Not Canada. Not Australia either. Not even New Zealand. Yeah, for some, but I don't think so. It's just too much. There's just too much ground. Martial law, it would basically, they would have to get rid of, like, they would have to either raise taxes through the roof to patrol all the streets and all the, unless they go on a camera binge like they've been doing in Winnipeg and other cities where they're putting up tens of thousands of cameras. But not in Canada. US, the people are too armed in the US to have that kind of a shutdown with martial law. I just can't see Canada doing it without going bankrupt. Will Canada try? Yes. Yeah, Supreme Council says U.S. State Department has basically said Hong Kong isn't autonomous. Of course they're going to say that. Jay Smith in the house. 26 Gunter saying Hong Kong will be taken and nothing will be done about it. That's fine, but they're just gonna a lot of the financials there will be deregulated. Okay, now civil unrest in Hong Kong, yes. Civil unrest against the police, Hong Kong, yes, 100%. Because the people in Hong Kong had a taste of the good life, and they know what will happen once they're under the regime. In Canada, a lot of people don't know what will happen because they've never really been under the regime. So Axel Rose says, are you drinking Fitcher beer? And then we have Lord Humongous says, we are sending Bill Gates to China to vaccinate the CCP. I don't know if I should say CCP, but that probably. So Big Rob New Zealand says, hit the like, you guys. Toby Cooper said, whatever happened to the blockades? Lots of weird comments going through the comment section. Nobody panic. So STP is not picking up. I did talk to him today for a while, like a long time. But McChronicle, he messaged me the other day. Let me just send him a quick message. I don't know if he's going to bed or if he's working or what he's doing. Let me see what else we got here. Man, everybody's just away today. It is hot outside. It is nice today. Like, it's really hot outside. Like, I'm going to pass out here if I don't... Yeah, let's get Buddy in from... since we've already talked to somebody, let's get Buddy in from... Let's call somebody in Australia, in Melbourne. We'll get Senior Thomas on the show.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
Unavailable. No problem. That's Senior Thomas. I want to get Senior Thomas. Ah, the McChronicle. Let me see if he could talk. I finally got a haircut today, said Tig Nim. Scott Kemp in the house. How you doing, Scotty? So we got updates on my garden. Yeah, guys, I'm going to do an update on my garden in a few days. I promise. I'll throw something up. I promise. I promise. All right, we'll see if we could get Evan. I think he's busy. He's writing usually when he writes a long message, he can't come on. I'm actually on a late night conference call. Sorry, Mike. No problem, buddy. He's probably listening to my show while he's on work. A lot of people listen to me while they're at work. A lot of people message me and say, yeah, man. Okay, no worries. Yeah, I missed the McChronicle. I'll have a talk with him probably tomorrow during the day, too. Aquarius says, I need to find an inexpensive air conditioner. Yeah. Yeah, it was like 42 centigrade and humidity today in Ottawa. Yeah, it's getting pretty hot. I tried to get Kevin Thompson on the call. I got him one time. He was just joking around with me, and I just hung up on him. He was just playing games. All right, let's see who else we could try to get on the show here. I think Supreme's in the comments. Let me see if Supreme... I already spoke to Lord Humongous today. I'm going to see who I spoke to today. There's so many people here, but everyone's away. It is nice out. Let's see if Supreme's at home and he's not out and about.
Yeah, how you doing?
Supreme, what's up, brother?
Not much. Not much.
It's
complaints though.
Good to hear from you. You know, I was gonna call you, and then today in the afternoon while I was at the shop, and then my conversation with Lord Humongous took a little longer than usual.
Oh yeah, no worry. My internet was acting the usual way all afternoon, so it's a little better right now.
Okay. Is it okay? I'm going to read one sentence from you.
Okay.
And now in Broward County, Dade County in Miami-Dade County, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Miami ranked number 7 nationally with the median monthly housing cost of $1,202, spending on average of 34.5% of their income.
Okay.
On their house. So 34.5% of their income. Why didn't cities in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, why didn't they address this when it was at 34.5% in their neck of the woods? They start coming out with it like people are paying 60%, 70% of their income is going towards housing. Why did they set these alarms off early in the States?
Agreed. And the thing is in Canada, the threshold used to be 40. I think it was 40% of your. I think it was 40% of gross income. That was your threshold in order to get a mortgage. That's the mortgage payment that the bank, as far as they're concerned, you could handle. But the interest rates went down and standards went down. Plus, part of the problem is it wasn't just foreign ownership, right? It wasn't just people coming in and doing all this stuff. You had a real appetite for speculation among average Canadians as well.
Right.
Everybody, because I saw it myself in the mid-2000s, everybody was getting involved in it because it seemed like it was a path to riches because real estate had gone up more or less 5-10% per year probably since the 50s, with a few crashes along the way, like 1980, for example. Okay, but for the most part, like most markets, the overall trend was up for decades. Mm-hmm. And so it was always considered a tax-free or a very tax-preferred way of accumulating wealth. So when interest rates went down and everyone's prices began to go up, right, because that payment could now support a larger mortgage, right, it got away. It was like a fire. It just got away. It started to get crazy, and the profits that people were making, the starting at the municipal level, the taxes that people could count on from higher real estate prices, which was undeserved credit. It wasn't because these cities and towns were being run well or that they were actually thriving. It was just low interest rates meant that asset prices were climbing, and real estate being one of the principal ones in Canada.
Right.
And as you know yourself, when the price of something really begins to take off, eventually there reaches a point where the greater mob will start to get involved in it. Mm-hmm. The really good money was made earlier.
That's correct.
Right. But by the time prices had doubled or like I saw myself for a while, the assessment on my property was going up 30% year over year. For a while it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Listen to this.
Okay.
Residents in New Orleans also spend over 30% of their monthly income on housing. Wow, that would be a dream and a half. That would be a dream and a prayer for people living in Toronto to pay 30% of their monthly income to housing. No one's paying that anymore there.
No, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that's just what it is. It's madness.
But they're raising the alarm bells in the States so early and telling people, hey, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, they went through a crash that we didn't experience. So yes, needless to say, people are getting much more vocal much earlier because they all got bit. Large parts of the country obviously were bit. It's something that just hasn't happened here yet, and we have the same naive smugness here that we've got things figured out that Americans don't have figured out. Right, and there's no basis for it. The average Canadian is not smarter than the average American. Sad to say, they're not even better run. I mean, there are obviously states in America that are run far worse than Canada overall. Mm-hmm. But even in Canada, we have some provinces that they have balanced books, they have robust and diversified economies. But you have other areas that have been economic basket cases for a long time. It's the same in America. It's probably the same in Mexico. There's probably states there that are more prosperous than others.
Of course. We got Serenity now in the comments, has a really good comment. and this is kind of important. He says, I have a question about interest rates. They have been low my entire adult life. Yes. And
Sure.
a lot of people coming in now to this, a lot of people that were 10 years old or 10 years ago that were 10 are 20 now, and there was still low interest rates then. And they're 20 now, and they're looking at the markets and potential, not potentially to buy something, so to say, but a potential to look at the future, right? And it's still low.
Yeah, his question to that statement is what would make the government choose to raise interest rates? Well, at this point, Serenity, I think it would be financial suicide for any government to raise interest rates. The motivation has been more along the line of buying government bonds, soaking up commercial paper to keep rates from going up, because the banks and most homeowners and a lot of consumers are in so much debt now that even a 1 or 2 point increase in the prime rate would cause everything to go bluey. So most governments are supporting the low interest rates with their money. They're not propping up their dollar. They're actually trying to devalue it. What would cause interest rates to go up? Obviously, a big financial collapse. That's correct. Banks, credit companies, auto lenders, people like that.
It's the reset of the economy. Once they raise interest rates,
the reset.
The economy just resets. We have Craig Cook saying, "I remember interest rates at 9%. My dad paid off a home in like 5, 6, maybe 6 years tops at like 9 to 11% interest."
Yeah. The first I remember when I started working for the family business, the first piece of equipment that we bought 2 pieces of forest equipment, and the interest rate was 12% in 1990. And it's gone down since then. Part of it was just a long, gradual decline over time. The reason interest rates hit 20% is because when the U.S. went off the gold standard and gold ownership and things like that became legal again, there began to be a rush to hard assets. And at some point in time, Volcker, the head of the Fed at that time, figured, okay, well, he was just going to have to unpeg the interest rate and see what the free market said. And the verdict of the free market was that the U.S. was being run like a banana republic. And that's why they had to pay banana republic interest rates in order for anybody to buy their debt. But it was a much more diversified economy in 1980 than it is now. So
yes,
the U.S. is
we were into everything economic-wise when it came to fabrication, production. We produced a lot in the 1980s. We had a lot of factories in Canada. A lot of, and Supreme, history shows that it doesn't take a majority to kick out the monarchy. So a lot of people need to realize things could change on a dime right now, the way things are headed. Sure. I think we could see things change on a dime. Do you think so or no?
A dedicated 10% who are on target, okay, who stick to their guns, who support particularly political message, can make an enormous difference. It's 10%. Usually, 3% dedicated revolutionaries can definitely make an impact, right? But they got to fight dirty. If you got to 10 or 20%, well, then you have 10 or 20% on the other side of the spectrum, and then it's that 40% in the mushy middle that you have to convince to, if they're not going to support you, at least stay out of the way.
Stay out of the way, yeah.
Stay out of the way in a case like that.
Because a lot of people.
No, I'm actually fairly optimistic. It sounds pretty counterintuitive, but I'm optimistic because there's so many people that have lost so much and are about to lose so much.
That's what I'm saying, because a lot of people think that everybody needs to sway to one side to make a change. No, history shows it doesn't take a majority to kick out a monarchy.
No, it really doesn't. And even a fiscal monarchy, right? You don't need a populist party to enable populist policies.
That's correct.
Right. If it gets to the point that someone perceives there's a political advantage to go after the money launderers, to go after the corrupt cops.
Why do you think they shut that down? They were doing a great job. They started analyzing the books. They found from 2011 to 2015 there was about $200 billion laundered through Canadian real estate. And that doesn't include the layering money through companies. That's just that, like the mafia does. That's just more people just parking their money in Canada. So why did they stop? They were doing such a great job. They uncovered all these years, and then the government told them to stop doing it.
Yeah, well, they were probably getting too close to the target. It's a matter of the governing party is the one most involved in these things, obviously, because being the party in government, they're the ones who are going to be approached by foreign money interests. They're the ones who are going to be approached. They're the ones who are going to, be more susceptible to the temptation to do those things. It's not true that everybody in the Liberal Party is a crook and a globalist wingnut. I don't believe that. It's just that you've got, especially in central and eastern Canada, which are much older than Western Canada. Mm-hmm. There's areas there that have been settled, obviously, for over 500 years. You've got people that vote Liberal because their great-grandfather voted Liberal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's all they need. It as long as their lives aren't considerably impacted one way or the other. That's the reason why most people don't show up to vote. It doesn't make that much difference to them. That's actually not bad news, right? Like your country is functioning fairly well and things are fairly stable. If if a lot of people feel, well, it doesn't matter who's in there, it won't change my life that much. Of course, you could say the same thing about the third world, right? If the developed world goes into depression while somebody living in a village in Nigeria probably isn't going to notice the difference one way or another.
That's correct.
Right? Because they're living more subsistence. Yeah, Craig, don't bite the hand that feeds exactly. The problem is those moneyed interests, if they perceive that the politicians and the bureaucrats, maybe the law enforcement that they have in their back pocket is starting to get uppity, then they can turn around and tell the papers themselves what's going on. Right? I mean, you get yourself painted into a corner, and then you just have to kind of keep your mouth shut and let things happen after a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's Supreme. There was an article I read this morning, actually, that England is looking to go to negative interest rates. Now, that is very dangerous. We know obviously what the offsets are and what the recourse could be when it comes to a runoff on the banking system, right? Are you there, Supreme? Hello? 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 Okay, it looks like we lost Supreme Cannon. We'll see if we can get him here. Let's see if... let me give... okay, let me try to get him back here. It wants me to rate the app. I don't have time right now.
Hi again.
Okay, so let me go back to what I said. Okay. I made a video this morning about how England went to 0%. Is talking about going to negative percent rate territory.
Yeah.
And we know the dangers and the implementations. We know the recourse of what will happen when that does get implemented, because we've been seeing it happening in other countries.
Certainly.
Now, my question to you is, have we seen the end of us being a wealth-building society like we were back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s to a debt-building society forever and ever? Have we lost the basically put your money in the bank and gain 5% off it?
It's not going to come back until after we've had a massive deflation, because obviously for that to happen, the prime rate is going to have to be 6 or 7%, mm-hmm. Right? Because that's basically what the bank is going to loan money out at, so they'll pay you 4 or 5%. So in order for that to happen, interest rates would have to come up, which money markets and debt markets would do automatically, but not until there's been a major default somewhere in the world or a massive deflation. In a case where they need that money, because we've reached a point now in Canada, I think in the US now, where banks are permitted to have 0% reserves. In other words, they're pulling out the stops. They want money flooding out the door to get the economies going again.
But then what happens to us? Are we as personal people, could we build wealth again? Could we actually build like the so-called little empire, our little castle, our little, you know what I'm saying? The man is a king of his castle, like back in the 80s, how we used to see it. Like, what do we, like, I mean, is that gone? Is that over now? Well, like, is it just going to be just indebtedness going forward?
No, obviously not. It reaches a point where it goes hockey stick like it is going. Like the Canadian deficit now apparently is going to be $250 billion this year, some insane amount, right? It's incredible. And it'll be more just to try to get things going again and get consumption back and just try to get back to where we were before we turn the key off on the economy. That's true, Craig. It is the end of modern monetary theory when that happens. Yes, yes, but it won't end overnight. It'll be a cascading failure. It's going to be on the margins where the more subprime debt gets blown out and bankruptcies start to climb, and at that point in time, lenders are going to want more money to lend their money because of credit risk. That's what causes interest rates to come up.
That's
so
right.
then you have the central banks with the 0% that are now buying up everybody's assets to try to keep those rates down. In other words, they assume the risk for it, but then your debt skyrockets, which decreases the value of your currency.
Yep.
They're going to do it anyway because we want to continue to export. We're an export economy. It is what it is. It's a mess. It's so many different pieces to this picture. God, I know I'm not an expert in it, but where interest rates at that level, the only way you're really going to build wealth is you're going to have to speculate in assets. You're going to have to try to, gold and silver have been pointed out many times, right?
Okay.
You're gonna when it gets this stupid, then you need silly, dumb,
something to hedge,
inanimate objects that nobody can default on. There's no counterparty risk.
Right.
So there you go.
Like you said, okay, like I'm going to jump in there because you said gold and silver. Now, Layla brought up a very dangerous comment in the comment section earlier, and I want to bring it up because I know this is happening in some countries. So, Lord Humongous, I want you to put on your headphones and pay attention to this because some governments in Australia are working on making private gold ownership illegal. And that's not just in Australia. There's quite a few governments out there now. I think in even parts of Mexico, I even think parts of if it's not in jewelry form or something. Yeah. I what do you think of that? Of them basically making it just, okay, it's illegal.
Yeah, well, I could see that up to a point. But they're always, it's longer than that, Blunt News. They've been saying that for 40, 50 years. But they're not wrong all the time either, are they? Sometimes gold and silver do go to the moon. It's just periodic. It's not a constant thing. They could try to do that, but what everyone perceives from that is they're trying to block all the exits so that you have to continue to participate in their crooked monetary system. So you're going to have more. You're going to have a black market, and they're going to increase the run to crypto. They're going to increase the run into many things as possible.
If they make gold illegal,
if they make gold illegal, that's true, Gary. In a case like that, silver almost definitely will be. Silver will definitely be. It should be almost as valuable as gold right now, just in terms of the amount available and the fact that it's used in medicine, it's used in industry, it's essential for electronics. It's a very important industrial metal in a lot of ways that gold isn't, right? And I agree, Lord. People will laugh at that draconian law because the thing is, they want to take more and more of your rights and freedoms away from you. If people can't buy gold and silver, they'll buy tin and aluminum.
Yeah.
They'll
go
buy
copper and zinc, whatever.
Copper and zinc. They'll go and they'll buy a pallet of cathode copper from the nearest mine. You can buy copper. All the places that sell gold and silver, a lot of them sell copper bullion too.
They do. Coins. I've seen a lot of good-looking etched copper coins. Really good-looking stuff.
Yeah, gold confiscation will work, Blunt News, in a case where the gold was being used as coinage, because all the U.S. government had to do was just call in the coinage. Right? They didn't go door to door and take people's gold. They called in the coinage.
They did,
and they needed to do that in order so that they could revalue it from $20 to $35 because it had a face value on it from the U.S. Mint, right?
Mint.
Keyword. Yeah, so it's a little bit different.
Mint. Keyword.
Yeah. That's right.
Alan Hawick is saying, question, what happens if you owe $100,000 Canadian, 100 large, and the Canadian dollar ceases to exist? Well, what would happen is whoever you're borrowing from will reestablish the loan or the debt in whatever currency form that would exist, adjusted according to the average wages are. So like if they adjust it towards average wage, So if a currency gets wiped out, like it's happened many times in parts of Europe where countries cease to exist after a couple of hours for some bizarro reason, or countries cease to exist in parts of Africa, or the currency is no longer legal tender, they actually turn that debt over into the existing currency, and they usually hedge it against what the average wage is. So let's say they come out with a Canadian dinar, but one Canadian dinar could buy you 11 US dollars because it's so powerful. Then your debt, your $100,000 debt, would probably be 20,000 Canadian dinars now.
That's right.
They'll just adjust it to what it. You know what I'm saying, Supreme?
Yeah, they have to at a point like that. They would. It's not a complete default if you revalue the currency.
Right.
Right. You're devaluing it. Now you're probably going to move it a couple of decimal places over to the left while you're revaluing it. But yeah, that's what will happen, basically. It happens in Argentina on a regular basis. A lot of countries have gone through this. We've been fortunate in Canada that we haven't had anything quite like that. But, America has, obviously, a couple of times in its history. So it's not unprecedented. It doesn't mean the end of democracy, and it doesn't mean the end of the world. It just means you reach a point where you go, okay, we're bankrupt. We have to do something now.
Okay. Hold on. Steve Stevens says, Mikey, isn't that changing the terms of agreement, making it void? No, because a majority of loans or applications that you sign up for, whether it's a first mortgage, a second mortgage, a line of credits, a credit card, it never tells you that it's being paid in Canadian dollars. If you actually look up the terms and, we lost Supreme Cannon. I was waiting for him to say something. If you actually look at the terms and agreements, it never says in Canadian dollars. It never says that. Any country you go to, you take a loan, it never says in that country's currency. Because, again, currencies die all the time. Well, recently they found ways to keep it going, right? Jay Smith says Canada doesn't have property rights like the U.S. says no. In parts of the states, people could expense the interest on their mortgage against capital gains. In Canada, you can't expense your property tax or the interest on your mortgage that you're paying out. In America, in a lot of states, you could take that interest you're paying and expense it against any capital gains, so you don't pay that much tax at the end of the year. And in Canada, you can't do that. They won't let you do that. Hey, Supreme.
Hi again. Yeah,
Okay.
It came back. Well,
Craig Cook is saying, Mike, doesn't the bank have a right to ask for their money at any time? Yes, they do. And yes. It's in the banking constitution, in their laws, basically. They could call their debt anytime they want.
Yes. Yeah, they can. They don't. I mean, unless they really want to punish somebody for something. It's it's not customarily that they do that, but they absolutely can call in the loan. Or usually, like a mortgage is on a 3 or 5 year term or something like that. At the end of the 5 year term, they might say, okay.
You still there? Hello? Man, Supreme Can's internet's taking a crap tonight. It usually does this once in a while. Usually when we get on a good conversation, we start... of course, Canada is full of marshmallows. So let me see. Marshmallows. Okay, I'm just trying to see what... Okay, let's see if we could get... Let me see here. Who else we could get? Man, I've been almost talking for 2 hours here. Yeah, Supreme Cannon's internet is not doing well. It happens. It happens. I just want to see who's still awake, because you got to remember there's a time zone. That's why I have like different time zones here. Right? Lord Humongous is on Mountain Time Zone. Craig Cook is on New Zealand time. Layla's on Syria time. Kevin Thompson is on Oakville time. I wonder where Red Pill Gary is, because I'm looking at a lot of the people that have been here for a long time that have a wrench. Everyone is. I try to get everybody on different time zones. So someone's asking, why I have so many wrenches. It's just because I want to try and catch everybody from everywhere, from every different part of the world, so that I'm not left open, right? Yeah, Supreme needs to turn that satellite dish a bit to the west. Oh, 3RG says, I always keep 2 chat windows open. One is not logged into YouTube. This is how I know if YouTube is censoring me. Okay. So Tig Nim is on Alberta time zone. Around the world, Mike adds to the show. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, if you hand in your guns, it's easier for China to detain you for no reason. Okay, let's see who we could get. Everybody's just away. It's just nice out. It's still sunny out. Like where I am, it's still blasting sun where I am, and it's hot. Whew. Alan's asking me, are you into crypto? No, I'm not, unfortunately. I know this is going to sound dumb, but I'm into oil. I shorted oil when I had to, and I bought oil at the bottom, and I've been buying and selling oil back and forth. It's very dangerous, and I do not recommend anybody to do what I do when it comes to investing, because it's big return, but severely high risk. I'm talking huge risk. What I do when it comes the way I invest. All right, let's see if we can get Supreme one last time, guys. One last time. Supremo. Let's see if he gets it working here.
Hi again.
Okay, let's give this a try.
One more time. We'll see how long we go.
So we're just talking about, we're talking about everything tonight, eh? Under the sun.
Yeah, covering everything. Yeah, it's all related.
And all of it gets back to our doorsteps, right? That's why it's housing. Everything leads to our doors.
Yeah, that's right.
So
it does.
Okay, so we got people asking me why I have, like, a lot of people have wrenches. It's because everyone's on a different time zone here. Mostly everybody,
Yeah, for
and
the
I
most part.
want to be able to catch everybody on a different time zone so that I'm never open. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you might have a time where you get a stream going and there's nobody with a wrench. So better, more is better than not enough. Most of the time it's fine.
And you know what I like about this
We have
channel
a
the
bad
most,
night, that's all.
Supreme, is that we're all personal here. Everybody's personal. Everybody knows you, me, Craig Cook, real Kevin Thompson. Everybody knows everybody here. You know what I'm saying?
It's good. We're all really getting acquainted with each other. Even
Lord
just
Humongous,
electronically.
Blunt News. We all know each other. Layla. Everybody knows everybody personally. So everyone at times fights like cats and dogs or like brother and sister because they just know each other's business. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and when you come on, I mean, everybody has a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all. It's the big thing is just it's there's no hard and fast rules to being a moderator. It's just you're there to keep the conversation civil. Like I use the example of Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. I love that from
there.
Family Guy. Speaking of Family Guy, what do you think of my Spooner Street background?
That's just wonderful.
That's Peter
Like the
Griffin's
Family Guy.
living room here. Peter Griffin, the average wage earner,
I
works for the brewery. Works for the brewery.
Yeah.
Makes an average wage, raises an entire family with a stay-at-home wife, Lois, and puts his kids through school.
That's right. Yeah, just working stiff, doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It's as old as the species. We all do it sooner or later, or at least take a shot at it.
And yeah, this Saturday is Mike of the Night. I think it's going to be a good one. This Saturday is going to be...
What do you have lined up for Saturday?
Oh, yeah. Mike of the Night this Saturday, Lizard Mixture.
Lizard Mixture. another house track title. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
There's somebody when we're off air, I'm going to tell you there's somebody I'm working on to get on the show on June the 20th. It's Mike in the Night, and the title is Aurora Borealis Comes Into View.
Oh.
And there's somebody I'm working on to come on the show, and we'll see if he makes it through.
Okay. Well, that sounds...
I'm not going to say who, because then I'm going to look like a big liar if they don't come on, right? So... Oh, no, we lost Supreme Cannon again. Oh, my God. We lost him again. All right. So we went over everything. Let's go over the key notes from tonight's show. And I'm going to call it a day. I'm sweating, man. I'm sweating my pants off here. Only 5% of Greater Toronto new homes sold last month. TransUnion warns a severe scenario likely in Canada, mortgage defaults to jump. CIBC challenges to Canadian real estate will be coming in 12 to 18 months. Home price gains continue in March as COVID pandemic swept the U.S. Miami ranks among cities where residents... Supreme, are you back? No, his thing is off. Where they spend the most on housing. So look at this, guys. Everyone's freaking out how Miami's ranked number 7 nationally with a median monthly housing cost of $1,202. They're spending on average 34.5% of their income on living expense. 34.5% of their income. In Toronto's like 70%, 60% in these big cities, in these in the Commonwealth. That would be a blessing and a prayer if that happened in our countries. Huge jump for demand in homes in the UK expected to be short-lived. Rich Chinese snapping up luxury homes from Singapore to Sydney. Australian housing isn't the one-way road to riches it once was. And Chinese snapping up luxury homes across Asia. So that's that, guys. Wow, I've been talking for almost 2 hours now. And let's get to some comments here. Supreme Can says, sorry guys, that's a wrap for me. Yeah, we can't strain the internet too much. Yeah, my chat just came back. And then... what else is here? Real estate to the moon. Woo! Real estate to the moon. Mike, HSBC is on the verge of bankruptcy any day. Yes. I actually shorted them like 2 months ago. Layla saying yes, Spartacus. Real Kevin Thompson is just replying to each other. Craig Cook says nope. I'm sad about the cycle driving around like that. Spartacus is saying, Layla, I heard you speak a couple of weeks ago. You sound very informative. It was fantastic. Yeah, Layla, if she's available for Mike in the Night, we'll get her on for sure. And what else we got here? Negative interest rates, high immigration, UBI. Yeah, guys, don't forget to watch Article Scan, please. Don't forget to watch this one from today. Bank of England looking at negative interest rates. Guys, this is very dangerous because they talk about it, they retract it, they bring it back, it becomes a discussion piece, and then it becomes reality. And they're going to be, what? We told you about this. What, were you sleeping? Yeah. So that's very important that you watch that video. And Melbourne vacancy rate nearly triples amid students. So Melbourne, Australia needs more foreign students, and Canada needs more foreign students. Canada needs more foreign students video right here, where Canada is in desperate need of more foreign students to help prop up their housing markets across the country. Spark Drive is asking, why is JT still staying home? You know what? I really don't know why. I don't know. I mean, if I could call him, honestly, I'll ask him. But that's one question I've been asking myself for the last week or two. Layla Leia says, in Toronto, condos have glass wall, passes for half a million for a one bedroom. $500,000's long gone. It's like 1.7 million. Kevin Tavares in the house. Kevin, I haven't seen Kevin Tavares in ages, man. Anthony says it will squeeze the yield curve and cause riskier asset and alternative investment to increase in value. That's very true. Someone saying that JT's heavily medicated. 26 Gunter's signing off. Good night, 26 Gunter. Spartacus is asking, or is the US dollar still king? US dollar is looking good. Well, let's go to the Australian markets right now. Yahoo Finance Australia. Let's get in there real quick and see. Markets are going to be open for another 2 hours. So here it is, guys. All ordinaries up. ASX 200 up. Australian to US dollar down to 66.66 cents. Oil down $1.23 at 31 a barrel. Gold's sitting at 17.11. Keep trying to stay positive here at plus 30 cents. Bitcoin, I don't know what that is in Australian dollars. And the New Zealand Exchange 50 is down 88 points. And let's look over here and... ooh, man, the Hang Seng is getting its butt kicked right now. Down 286 points. The Nikkei is up. Wow. It's up right now, 429, sitting at 21,849. The Dow Jones and the FTSE and over in the UK, England, basically closed in positive territories, respectfully high with the Dow Jones. So... there you go, guys. No, US dollar is doing well because all the other currencies are falling to it. That's just it. US dollar looks good, but every other currency right now is basically having a tough time keeping up. That's all. All right. Any BTC for the win? Says Alan. Red Pill Gary's got a good point, saying, seeing more places for sale around lately, but nothing is selling. People still think they can get what their neighbors sold for last couple of years. Not going to fly. So... yeah, Hang Seng is getting ravaged right now. Here it is. There it is right there. Mike, when are you going to do another Market Talk show? You know what? I don't know, when I wake... see, the thing is, I got to wake up early. Sometimes I go to bed late because I have kids. And sometimes it takes time, to... the family thing. I am a family guy, right? Look, I'm in Peter's living room here today on Spooner Street in New England, Quahog. I'm not that far from West Attleboro. If you guys have been to Attleboro, Massachusetts, you know what I'm talking about. Lord Humongous says he's been shorting NIOs. Yeah, it's good to see everybody in the comments like behaving. Like I said, we're a community here. We're a small channel. Everyone over the years have got to know everybody personally. Everyone has at least called into the show a few times, and that's what happens. We just personally get to know each other on here. That's it. That's what it is. Mike, you need to be on the Planet Express ship. Yeah, I'll do that one time. Alan has got a good point in the comments saying Lebanon is a mess. Yeah, Lebanon right now is... There's a lot of protests there going on right now in Lebanon. How about a live cam party one of these days, Mike? Sure. Yeah, protesting is... Yeah, in Hong Kong, in China, yeah. So let's see who else is here. Hong Kong bank stocks are good short speculation. Well, I'm shorting HSBC, and I was shorting some Chilean bank in Chile, and I was an Argentinian bank I was shorting back in January. Kia Hodgust is asking, Mike, are you ever going to do a show in Toronto? Yeah. You know, I have family in Toronto, so when I go back to TO, I got to be careful so they don't throw me on a plane and send me to Portugal. But I will do a show in Toronto when I'm back there again. I usually meet up with the Lost Canuck and yeah. Oh, Planet Express background Futurama. Maybe I'll do a Futurama one. Why not? Yeah, Lord Humongous saying HSBC is a good short. It is. It's definitely one I'm looking at right. Their books are screwed, man. If they stop laundering money, if the Bank of London, HSBC in England stops laundering here. I'm just going to show you the I'm just going to show you the article. Here we go. I'll show you the article, so who cares if I can't read it? Here it is. World economy would collapse if the City of London stopped laundering money, says HSBC whistleblower. Woo! Dave Sobranani sent me $5.49 for cafe. Thank you so much, Dave. You got to come and visit me from Kelowna. Leaf Wigger joined the family. Thanks, buddy. Just so you guys know, I'm at the shop now. If you guys want to come every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm there. I already had someone from the channel visit me like mid-afternoon today. And Red Pill Gary is saying lots of interesting news on Zero Hedge now, should make for a good show Saturday night. Yeah, for sure. Red Pill Gary should call in. Big Rob New Zealand should call in. People we haven't heard from. Blunt News now is. I hope he's getting his channel or his platform going. Mike, you should do one cooking show with the fruits of your labor. I'm not sure who that is. Fruits of your labor. City of London is the criminal corruption center of the world. That's correct. And that's where they're manipulating gold from, guys. FYI. Gold prices come from here. Gold prices come from, like, I think London somewhere. And that's where they... Yeah, so to say, right? So... Okay, guys. My 2 hours is running up. We covered a lot today. We covered a lot of good articles, actually, today. We didn't get too many callers in, but we did... get a lot of important stuff out there that we're going to start to see a huge follow the trends in the housing market and you'll follow your future. That's what my show model should be. Follow the trends in the housing and you'll follow your future. I want to thank the new member that just joined the channel today. Thanks for joining. 3 right guys, thank you so much. Yes, karaoke and hot pots with Leaf. I don't have Skype. Skype is free. It's just the easiest way for me to plug into my system so we can hear you loud and clear. Good show, Mike says Serenity now. Yeah, come on Saturday. Everybody come back on Saturday for... I'm going to leave a link right now for the Saturday show. Lizard mixture. What am I talking about? No, I'm not talking about transforming lizard people. Something's happening. Mike in the Night. Guys, get over to the channel, subscribe, share this video, get this transmission out there. Okay, so this is Mike in the Night Lizard Mixture this Saturday. If you guys could come in. Lizard Mixture has a lot to do with the call snake oil. And other cultures would call it a lizard mixture, as in parts of the US they'd call it snake oil salesman, but other parts of the world would call it a lizard mixture, in a different language though. I just kind of translated it, sounds cool. Don't forget to sign up for that. Set your reminder there in the comments for that Mike in the Night. Sad Belly's going to bed right now. Yeah, guys, everyone's signing off. It's 2 hours. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you guys on Saturday from Mike in the Night. I appreciate your support and being part of this channel and being part of the community. And remember, guys, we're community here. That's what it is. We built this for years, and we're just here. We're here together. So we'll see each other soon. God bless. And stay safe, guys. And if you can't stay safe, be careful. Thanks for watching.